So a big welcome to you, Chris. And perhaps you could just start off by telling us a wee bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and your faith in Jesus and how that came about.
All right. Thank you, Stephen, for having me on tonight. I live in Fivemiletown. I've never moved very far. I've born here, grown up in Fivemiletown. I'm married to Caroline, and we attend St. John's Church in Fivemiletown. Kyle Hanlon is the rector there. And from a working point of view, I have my own business. I have a packaging company in Oma that I've been doing for the last 18 years. And so I haven't moved very far from where I am. Yeah. I suppose throughout my life, I've always attended church. I suppose I came to faith when I was probably a late, at 40 years of age. So I'm 54 now, and I suppose it took me to 40 years of age before I got the real point. And I have a living faith with Jesus, which is the most important thing in my life.
Yeah, and you told a lovely story just of a verse from Galatians, which is quite special to you.
Yeah, when I came to faith when I was 40, it was through Kyle was teaching on Galatians, and it was such a powerful time, and I knew the Lord was obviously challenging me at that time, and I always had a strong faith, but I never did anything about it. And Kyle was preaching on Galatians 2 verse 20, and it was the battle between Paul and Peter, and obviously where Paul was explaining about being crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. And the life I live now is through the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. And I think that verse, where it made it personal, and it was such a powerful experience from my point of view. It really struck home with me. And it's one of those verses that has stuck with me ever since, that the fact that Jesus loved us so much that he gave himself for us. And I think that was a personal thing for me. And I remember telling you, Stephen, there, just that I work and I travel a lot, and I had been into a company where I'm selling packaging, and I went into a company that I'd never been before. And I just walked into reception, and there in the back wall of that reception was Galatians 2 verse 20. And I left that reception, and I went to the car, and I prayed to the Lord, and I thanked the Lord for putting that into my path. And for the last 30 years, I've been traveling and into different companies, but in that time in September, I just happened to walk into that same company, that company that I'd never been before, and seen that same message. And it really was just a powerful thing that said, the Lord is speaking to me now, and I need to react to that. And I went home, and I called Kyle. I went down and I prayed with him, and he prayed with me. And I said, I'm ready to give my life to the Lord. And I told a number of people, and it was just the start of a journey. It was a journey that started to make life real meaning from my point of view. And then from there, I kept asking myself, how am I going to serve? How do I serve the Lord now?
And that leads on really well to my next question, which would be, well, what does mission mean to you? Since that very clear time, all those years ago, what sort of idea have you developed about mission over the years?
Yeah, well, during that time, obviously, that I had got to know of Sam's through the church, and Claire had been to the church several times and talked, and started to get a connection there. And through mission and through Matthew chapter 28 and the Great Commission, it was a clear message there to go into all the world and spread the gospel. And that was just a point, so that whether it's anywhere around the world, or whether I could see the point, whether it was locally or whether it was in South America, and from a Sam's perspective, and it just struck a chord with me that why not? And I'd thought about different things, and I thought, could I go on a mission trip? How would I go about doing a mission trip? And and as it was, I thought, is there a team going? Is there something I could go on? And it didn't really open up too quickly. And then whenever Bishop Ken obviously said that, well, why don't the two of us go? And it was just, I said, yeah, we'll do that. And we arranged everything, and we decided to go to Paraguay and Peru, and headed off to South America. And but before that, Claire had been sending prayer notes and different notes into the church, and I had been lifting these prayer notes, and the prayer notes were basically asking for various situations in Assumption and in Concepcion, where Claire was, to try and pray for certain situations. I think I mentioned to you before, Stephen, there, that the man there called Eladio, which really, really struck a chord with me. I read that, and I prayed hard for Eladio, and it really, really was very passionate about it. I'd never met Eladio, but I just, he was seriously ill with brain tumors, and it really just struck a chord with me, and the Lord was speaking to me through that. And then whenever Ken, I thought the doors were closed, and then when Ken said to me, listen, we could go together, I jumped at the chance, and I said, Lord, you're leading the way for me in this, and I'll follow. And so we went, and we had a great trip. It was an incredible journey, and Ken was obviously great company to be with. And the experience obviously just opened up more and more about mission and what God wanted us to do. And obviously to people 6,500 miles the other side of the world were praying for each other. And whenever I went into St. Pablo's Church in Concepcion, and I sat down in service with Claire, and we were there, and I sat down beside this couple, and they were speaking Spanish and not really speaking. I didn't speak enough Spanish other than hola, and that was it. And
they weren't speaking like they speak back home.
Yeah, exactly. But I sat down and we went through the service, and then we were trying to communicate with each other, and his wife spoke a little bit of English, and I was asking how I could get a Paraguayan flag. So I wanted to bring a flag, and I was struggling to get it. And anyway, this lady went off, and she got me a flag, and to bring home. But whenever I was talking to Claire, and I said to Claire, she was explaining who this man was, and then she said, "This is Eladio," and it really just broke down in tears. To be honest, it was such an emotional time at how I could be sitting in Fivemiletown praying for Eladio, and not so long later, I ended up sitting beside him in the church, and to meet the man that I've been praying for, and to see him in the flesh was just so incredible. I just thought this can only happen by God leading the way and putting the bits together for this to happen. And it was a powerful experience in my life for that to happen. And obviously Eladio was emotional too, that he knew that whenever Claire explained to him that we'd been praying for him at 5 Mile Town, and that he was on the list, and he was there being prayed for, and to think that people around the world are praying for each other was such a powerful witness. And for him, I know since then he's gone on to be with the Lord, but he was there at a time that made an incredible impression in my life, and it's something that'll stay with me forever. And that trip, even going from Peru on to Peru after that, and there was something else, Stephen, that struck me whenever Bishop Ken spoke at one of the evenings. He spoke about something that's probably very well known, but he had 3 different little sayings in a person's life, and it was all about, the first one was all about me. And I had never heard this before, where you've got the 3 bits, and he had said, firstly, it's all about me, and then secondly, it was all about Jesus and me when we come to faith, and then thirdly, it was all about Jesus and them. And I think when that struck such a powerful chord with me, because I said to me, this is not a selfish thing to keep your faith to yourself. And it led me to understand about mission, and to think about mission in a totally different way. That mission, people sometimes think, is charity, but it's not charity. It's it's making a connection to encourage one another in their faith, and to support people who maybe have much less material matters, but it's helping people in a way that we can show that because we're Christians, we love each other. And that means an unconditional love to do whatever it takes, as God has had unconditional love for us.
That's right.
And I think that those simple words about all about Jesus and them, it just struck a message that we're all here to try and bring people to discipleship, and just try to encourage others to walk in faith with Jesus.
Yeah.
And it was a powerful trip. That was back in 2013.
Yes.
And it was quite incredible. Throughout that trip, Stephen, there you could see every step of the way that God was ahead of us, and everything just fell into place. And you could see, that so many different experiences. It just goes time and time again. And I think I remember Ted saying to me before I go, obviously, and maybe Ken said it, that expect the unexpected. And it was very true. Just you think you have a perception about what it's like, and you think you're going on mission to help others, but right. I felt certainly come away that I had gained so much more than I could ever give.
That's right.
And I think that was the experience of mission.
Yeah. And it's been amazing just to hear in these few short moments some of your reflections just over the years. What advice would you give to anybody who wants to be more involved with God's worldwide mission, whether around the world or locally? What would you say to them?
Now, what I would say, don't hesitate. Don't wait another moment. I, I would encourage anyone to go. It's because to step outside your comfort zone and just trying to go on wherever the trip is. When I came back from the mission trips, or from that trip, I really had such a heart for it, and I wanted to encourage other people to go. And thankfully, a number of people from our church did go after that, and we've kept the connection. But just to try and see that filter through, because when people go to church, they don't always get it. They don't always understand what mission is about. Every year I go to the Friday Night Live, and you hear the stories that everyone brings to those evenings, and it's quite incredible to see the work that's going on and how lives are being changed. And I think that's where I want to try and encourage other people to go on the trip, so they can see how their life will be enriched by it, but also to try and see how their fact of going will actually make the difference. And I remember reading a book obviously on that, and it was from also encouraging about Paul, where it said about the going and remaining like the people that are there. You're not going there to try and change the people, but it's actually just trying to embrace the situation that you're in and live like the people that you're there. And there's so many situations when I met with Claire and I met with other people who had been out there, you could see the change in their life and how they had settled into the community and were working in that environment. And for anyone that's been on a short-term trip, I think it'll be something that'll stay with you forever. And I found Sam's very supportive, and that was something there that I would highly recommend to anyone to go.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time this evening to just talk and tell us your experience about mission. So thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure, Stephen. Thank you. God bless.